Hello, YouTube. I'm doing this tier list live on the second channel, not the main channel. This is the mid-season 9 hero tier list, for my opinion, on the NA ladder. High elo ranked, with some influence from the Overwatch Championship Series. The OWCS was just played today. Today's Saturday/Sunday, March 16th, 17th. They competed today. I saw what a lot of top teams were playing. I've also scrimmed a couple of comps. Well, I scrimmed on Tuesday on patch day, and we were still experimenting, but it seems like the meta has stabilized, and I almost said Mauga because, yes, you're right. I'm pretty sure Mauga is one of the best heroes on this patch right now, but we're going to go in alphabetical order, starting from tanks on the left side. D.Va. I don't think she got any playtime in OWCS today, but I think for ranked purposes, I think she's still pretty solid, pretty good, if not fantastic pick. Still very flexible, especially if you don't run the Mauga. If they don't have a Mauga, I think you're chilling. And even against Mauga, it can mitigate a lot of his lifesteal. Obviously, Matrix while he's cardiacking and or just fly away. I don't know. This hero has agency because she can choose when to fly and engage and disengage. So in high ranks, you still see some divas for sure, although a lot of people are going to default to Mauga, which you'll see in a moment. So I still think she's pretty good. Doomfist. Doom. I think Doom's still pretty good. I think he sort of loses to Mauga, if I'm not mistaken. Every time I got in a game with Cardi as my tank and we ran against the Mauga, he was just not having a good time. He's one of those Doom one tricks in high elo that I literally played 10 times today. I think I played 19 games of ranked and I played against Cardi fan like 10 or 11 times. He was not having a good time against Mauga. But for now, in most matchups though, he's still pretty solid. Still one of the best dive tanks. So I'm going to keep him in pretty good in my opinion. Queen, I think she's fallen down quite a bit. Like, she's still good, but you have to be really good at her to pop off right now. I think the recent Zarya buffs kind of keep her in line a little bit. I do think Queen was our choice of tank when we had it with Emong in OWCS early season 9 patch, but with all the other tanks getting buffs. Actually, the last patch, this mid-season patch, was a 14, or no, was it 17 heroes got buffs or something like that? It was kind of like a power creep buff, but kind of like nerfing a lot of the projectile sizes for hit scans, but it was overall a net buff to a lot of other tanks that received some juice. So it feels like, you know, relative to other tanks, she fell down to B, but like her in a vacuum, still pretty solid. And I forgot to mention Doom got buffed this patch, where his Meteor Strike got buffed to 50 damage at the end. That's pretty minor, but still something. Anyways, I'm skipping over to Mauga now. Do I need to say anything else? Mauga got like quadruple buffs this patch, mostly in the Cardiac Overdrive. The Cardiac Overdrive now gives 100 overhealth when you press it. That's number one. Number two, the uptime for Cardiac is a lot better, from 12 to 10 seconds. Yes, the duration of it is nerfed a little bit, but that's, you know, still overall, it's going to be available on cooldown more often, and it gives you that health whenever you need it. And the DPS passive got nerfed this patch from 20 to 15%. So if you don't have as much healing reduction, so you can keep the Mauga topped off, and he can pop off and just win. So I do think Mauga is very good. Orisa, I actually think is pretty good as well. It actually plays okay into Mauga, if I'm not mistaken. I think one team ran it in OWCS today. She's a bunker down and chill out and pop up. I think Orisa's still pretty good. She requires similar resources to Mauga. So like if you just don't want to like turn your brain off and play Mauga, you can also turn your brain off and play Orisa. Although Orisa probably has a little bit more skill representation a little bit than Mauga. I feel like Mauga is just hold the buttons down. At least Orisa, you have to aim the spear. That's probably the best part. That's about it. But I do think it plays pretty well into that matchup, and bunkered down with something annoying like a Symmetra, and you can still pop. Ramatra, I think it's good. Still, pretty good or good? Ramatra was good on the hotfix patch last week, but I think with Mauga being so good, it kind of just gets run over right now by Mauga. His hitbox is ginormous. Hard to say. I have not seen a single Ram, and for some reason, nobody likes playing Ram in ranked. And if I didn't see it in OWCS and I didn't see any, like, I got no info on Ramatra this patch. Literally 0 Rams the last 4 days since the hotfix patch. Actually, hotfix came out mid-season patch came out Tuesday. It's been 5 days. I think I've seen 1 Ram in about over 150 games. So I don't know. I'm gonna put him here for now as like an initial thought, but Feel free to add some extra quips in the comments if you have any idea of where Ram stands. But that's my take on it. Reinhardt. Rein, still very hard to play. Yes, he got buffed this patch to 700 HP. He got a little bit more armor, but his weaknesses are still very evident. I mean, he has 700 HP, but Mauga has 750 HP, and he heals, and he overheals with overhealth, and I don't know. Rein, when he's just chilling in one spot, he just kind of gets run over by like every other hero right now, and I think he needs a more reliable engage. If he can close the gap and get onto you, then like sure, he can sort of do pretty well, but like, I mean, Lucio's being played every game. He just gets booped back. Does he even have a tank passive at this point? There was a joke around tank players wondering if they even have the passive because they still get ping-ponged everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. I still feel like nobody plays Rein, at least in high elo. I've not seen a single one. It's mostly defaulted to mostly Mauga with the occasional, you know, flex on some of these other picks, but almost zero Reins. Now, Roadhog's an interesting one. I actually thought he would still stay D tier this patch, or I think I had him at C tier in the previous tier list. But the Roadhog buff on this patch changed it so they get pulled 3 meters instead of 4 meters away. And I actually ran into a lot of Roadhogs today, believe it or not. And I feel like it does pretty well into Doom. I'm not sure how it's supposed to play into Mauga, but it did feel like with the correct setup and the Mauga wasn't ready, you do get to, because like Mauga still has to space it out when he cardiacs, but unless he's charging, he's pretty much a free hook for the hog. And if your team is set up, you can sort of like turn pull him into your pigpen trap and then burst him down because he's slowed. And he has pretty good one-shot potential once again with that closer thing. So if you do catch a 250 HP hero, you pretty much do have a chance to follow up and complete the kill. I'm actually quite impressed with Roadhog this patch, believe it or not. So I actually would bump him up to B tier, believe it or not. So I'm gonna put him on good. He's no longer that nichey. Well, by definition, he's a bit nichey. Plays pretty well into Doom and I guess Mauga right now, but I low-key think he's better than people expect. So I'll put him in B. Sigma, I still think is a fantastic solo queue pick. Not much to say. He's versatile, pokey, does a bit of everything. We'll leave it there. Winston, I think it's still good in the right hands, but I don't know. I don't think anybody plays Winston that much. He feels really niche right now. If Mauga is like meta for a lot of matchups, I feel like Winston's almost impossible to play into it. He's like a niche pick into like other matchups, and even then, like people play Diva or Mauga comps, and it just kind of like feels like Winston falls behind a little bit. I'm sure with a proper coordinated team, it's good. What's considered high elo? I would say on this season, like bottom top 500, so like probably like Masters 2 or higher. That's where the majority of, you know, previous GM players are. I mean, high elo is totally a definition that is subjective to a person. Someone who's like champion would be like, high elo is where I'm at, champion, and everybody else below me is trash. I'll say Masters 2 and above, which is bottom top 500, the cutoff. I don't know. I think Winston is kind of hovering between C and B. Would people be upset if I put him in C? Like, what does he play well into? Like, why play Winston when Doom is just a better dive hero right now? And then why play Winston if Mauga is super good? People would probably be upset with me if I did that. But I don't care. I'm committing. Wrecking Ball. I think Wrecking Ball actually fell down to C tier. I think Sombra's so good this patch. Like, I don't think he should play Ball at all. Oh, true. Actually, I lied. Winton is pretty good in Zarya still. And Sig if like he's unprepared for it. Okay, I feel more comfortable putting Ball in C and Winton not in I don't feel comfortable keeping these two in the same tier. Anyways, let me move on then. I'll put it here. I think Ball is niche now. I think he was fine in the early season patch with Zen being good and not everybody else getting all the buffs, but all the other tanks got buffs since then. Mauga, Orisa has her ultimate. This ultimate got buffed. Roadhog's hook is better. I feel like Ball's fallen down. Sombra's really good this patch. So I'm going to put Ball in niche. Zarya, probably B tier. Buffed with the beam damage. Some teams ran this in the hotfix patch. I think this is okay. Okay, I'm happy with this. This is my take on ranked. Like if I'm just pretending, if I'm queuing, if I'm solo queuing and I see a Ball lock in, I'm like, okay, we can make it work, but then I don't know how to play around it. Anything else, it's whatever. Ashe. I still think Ashe is pretty good this patch. Bastion. Niche hero. Cass, I still think is fantastic. Echo, I think is fantastic. Is Doom in B because of Sombra? Also part of the reason, yeah. Genji. I'm actually unsure of Genji. I actually have not seen as many this patch because it's so much Mauga. It's like the heavy dive is not as crazy with the full committed. I think it's still fine with like Doom. Maybe I'll put him in B+. Hanzo, pretty bad. Or Nishi, C tier. Junkrat, I still find him a bit hard to win with. Like, I feel like it's easier to win with the Hanzo than it is with Junkrat. Mei, pretty good this patch. Definitely bumped up. Pharah, still Nishi. Reaper, fantastic pick this patch. Sojourn, fantastic. Soldier, still pretty good. I think Sombra's fantastic. I think Sim, I put Sim in niche. Or no, I put her in hard, I think, last patch. I'll bump her up to niche, or arguably good. I think she's actually pretty solid this patch. She got a lot better. The turrets are so annoying as a Kiriko player because, like, I can't shoot them. I have to shoot 2 kunais to break them, which actually slows down my tempo a little bit. I can't one melee it, and then the beam is a little bit better. I think Sim feels like really good if they play Brawly stuff, but nobody really plays Brawl. Well, I guess actually I lied. I say niche, but like I actually think it works pretty well with Mauga. It's actually kind of cheesy. You can actually TP them out of the cage. You can farm. You know, I'm gonna put her in good. Sim Mauga is beyond OP. Yeah, I've ran into a couple of Sim players yesterday, and they're kind of cooking with that 5-stack. Was that you? There was a 5-stack yesterday. Oh, that was you playing it. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. I was wondering. Oh, but WCOS was breaking it out too. It was like a very bunkered down Moira, Kiri, Sim, Mauga, and who was the last DPS pick? Cass or Sojourn? I can't remember. Or Sombra. It was Sombra. Yeah, that shit's really good. Now, arguably, if you don't play against the Mauga, is Sim still solid? Has to be at least B. I'm gonna put it there for now. Torb, pretty good. Tracer, is Tracer even hard meta anymore in this meta? I think Tracer's still just a solo queue flex. Like, this is ranked, not high elo. Tracer still played a lot, but a lot of people I've been seeing with Mauga have opted for a flex of Sombra, Sojourn, Reaper, this, sometimes this, sometimes this, sometimes Ashe, sometimes Torb, sometimes Thing. She can still apply the DPS passive. She didn't get nerfed this patch. It's really just comp dependent, but I don't know. For solo queue purposes, we'll just say a good Tracer still owns the game. I'm gonna put it in meta. Widowmaker kind of fell behind this patch. Do we put her in good still? It's still player dependent. I feel like if you're still like a gross Widow, always good if you can click heads. And usually in this elo, they're good. As long as you're willing to swap and press H when you're getting dove. Because a lot of teams recognize if their Widow's popping, they'll send somebody to mark you like crazy. If it's a slower comp, you can probably look for picks in the back. But if they run some Doom super fast, like Lucio, Doom, Kiri, Sombra. Although Sombra's really good this patch, so I guess it's hard to stay alone by yourself as Widow this patch. I had her previously on like A or S on the beginning of Season 9 because of the hit scan like projectile size. She just kind of owned games, but she's niche because she's map dependent and depends on if they play Sombra or not, but still click heads. I think I'll just keep her in B. She's still pretty good if you're good. Okay, Ana. Ana this patch got a lot more playtime. She was niche last patch. I'll bump her up to pretty good now. The nade buff was nice. Helps her with the Tracer matchup. Some teams have, I've seen some Kiri, Ana backlines. I keep running into the RuPaul Vega, Ana Kiri, because I think maybe they're just bored of playing Kiri Lucio every game. They just play that for solo queue purposes. I don't know. A little biased. Fuck it. We'll put it there. BAP. I actually just think BAP is inferior to Kiri and Moira as your main support. But I mean, if you can click heads, sure, pretty good or good. I'm a BAP main, but honestly, I think he's still good, but not pretty good anymore. Brig got buffed a lot this patch with the pack up time. Good if they still run dive. You just don't play Brig though if you're playing a Mauga comp. So I'm gonna keep her B. Ilari, I had her on hard to win last game or last patch. Arguably niche and arguably good right now. I don't know, I played it a lot in quick play, which isn't the best indicator. And I was smoking people. The shots feel really good and consistent right now. It's constant poke pressure. And I've seen way more Ilaris in ranked than Briggs, though, to be completely fair. Like, Brig is still a situational pick for the most part, mostly against dive. And like, if you run to the Doom one trick, I don't even see people play Brig into it. They just play Lucio Kiri. I actually think Ilari's pretty good. I'm gonna put her in B. Not pretty good, just good. Kiriko, still a meta pick. Enough said. Works well with literally anything here. You can play Kiriko with Mauga. You can play with Diva. Maybe not so much with Sig. Play with Doom. Play with this. Play with this. Play with this. You get the point. Lifeweaver, still hard to win with. Why Flats use Ryan? He has not played Ryan. I've mostly do it with Flats. He barely plays Ryan. People have this perception that he's mains it, but he absolutely does not play it. Unless he's just memeing and the other person mirrors it, and that's it. Lucio, still very good. Still very meta. I think Mercy, hard to win with Mercy in this patch. I have not seen much Mercy this patch. He's hovering between the two. I still think it's a very good DPS meta, but like, and if you have the Sojourn on your team, like, I guess you could make it work. Still incredibly niche. I'll put it here. Moira, S tier. Zen, niche now. Well, solo queue. Solo queue is Zen. Still pop off. These are all still sort of playable, but in very specific situations. And then in D tier, like, I don't want to see any of these. Although I will say, I've seen 0 Rhines and like basically 0 Weavers. I have seen some junks, but they're just junk one tricks. There's no world with somebody be like, hey, can you swap junk? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? In no world can we go like, hey, can we get a Rhine? Hey, can we swap junk? To junk, not swap off junk. Remember, this is a tier list for when I say high elo ranked, I should just specify it. This is like basically top 500 elo lobbies, which is bottom Masters 2 cutoff, which is the majority of previous seasons like GM 1s and 2s, and that's basically the cutoff here. Sombra should be meta. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Should I like move something? What did she get again? Virus buff on hack targets and EMP build-up time, right? I guess building fast EMPs to absolutely shred. If Mauga is meta, then you have to play almost have to play Sombra to pop it. She builds it every fight because of the Mauga. And she still works with Thing. Yeah. And the reason why I put 3 supports in here and two of them are Kiri Moira is because I saw a lot of people switch between these two depending on hero comfort. And I've actually seen some of the Kiri Moira specifically without the Lucio. But I skimmed over OWCS and yeah, it was just seemed like whatever teams kind of felt like. More Moira than Kiri, if I'm not mistaken, in today's matches. The disparity between supports is big. Yeah, I mean, every game has these 3 supports. Honestly, Ana's played more as the 3rd right now, and honestly, more Ilaris. I don't even see BAP, but that's because I'm queuing support, so like I only give my other support one option. I'm locking Kiriko. I lock Kiriko almost every game this season, and my other support literally either play Lucio or Moira. That's it. You would bump Ilari down. Yeah, I was debating on that too. True. I would prefer this with anything else. All right. Okay. That's my list. That's my list for mid-season 9. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.